Welcome into a new edition of Soccer Over There as we get ready for Copa Libertadores tonight. Live from La Bombonera in Buenos Aires, Boca trying to overturn a 2-0 deficit. That's not all we're going to talk about, although that's going to be a lot of the second hour. We're going to talk a lot of Champions League, a lot of weekend recap from all the leagues around the world. We'll talk some MLS playoffs as well as they kick back off tomorrow. Lots of different things to talk about, but guys, I think we have to start with the Champions League from today, right, Nick?
Yeah, I would say so. I would say it's kind of important. I'm supremely focused on Thunderdome Part 2 for Copa Libertadores, so I'm watching Champions League, and I'm like, okay, I'm feeling all right with this stuff.
That's your appetizer?
It is. It is the appetizer.
Is it the mozzarella sticks of international soccer to you?
Yeah, I'll say mozzarella sticks. I think that's a good call.
Okay.
Yeah,
because I think it's a better appetizer than that.
No. Look, I get that the Euro snobs will massacre me online for saying this, but it is simply the mozzarella sticks because, I mean, look at the lineups that you had today, right? You had Man City versus Atalanta. Atalanta got slaughtered.
After being up 1-0.
Yeah, and I mean, good on Man City for getting it together. PSG versus Club Brugge. Oh, that's very exciting. Oh, my goodness. And Juve versus Lokomotiv Moscow. Juve was down in that one early.
Yeah.
Managed to come back and win. Spurs put on a show against Savannah Zvezda. But, I mean, guys, was there anything today in Champions League that made you go, wow?
Not really.
So let's be clear. The Champions League in general is not the mozzarella sticks of the world game.
No.
Today was.
Today's schedule.
That's fair enough.
I live in the moment.
Yes.
I live in the moment.
That's fair enough. Decent mozzarella sticks, though.
Yeah, no, it's
not the microwave.
No. Like
no.
The thing is it the actual stick or do you go with the wedge, the triangle wedge?
You always talk about mozzarella wedges and things that make no sense.
No.
This
it's
does
the sticks, John. I'm sure they exist. Where?
At a local establishment that is not sponsoring us currently. So can I drop that name?
Yeah,
it's a strange thing. I'm going to go against it.
All right.
I'm going to vote against it.
All right.
Yeah.
I want a stick.
Yeah, no, we're going to stay here because when we talk about places that have phenomenal food and beverages, the Brewhouse Cafe is by far the superior option for you. They have 9,000, I've counted, they have 9,721 televisions.
Yes.
They have their own separate power station that is powered by cesium-237.
Yes.
Which is
I don't know what that is,
a highly radioactive
radioactive
isotope.
element. Is
Sure.
That's a radioactive isotope.
Sounds good.
That's right.
The important thing tonight, though, there's a drink special.
Wait, what?
Oh, yeah?
There
You
is
didn't
a
know about
very
this?
I didn't know about the drink special.
Drink
Catch me up here.
special for this evening's festivities.
Yes.
Fernet y Coca, $5.
Ooh.
Fernet Branca and Coke,
Ooh.
the official, unofficial drink of Argentina.
Ooh.
$5.
$5, you say?
$5 for a Fernet y Coca.
That's the dollar amount after 4, you would say.
Yes.
On your way to 6.
On your way. But you're not going to make it all the way to 6. You're going to stop at 5.
Correct.
Okay. So okay, good.
Unless you're leaving a gratuity for the bartender.
Well, you
And
must
you
always.
will be doing
You
that.
will
Yes.
be doing that. No, because if you don't leave a gratuity, I'm going to have to ban you from the show. Just know that you're being shadow banned right now if you don't leave proper gratuity.
For real.
Yes.
Yeah.
So get on down to the Brewhouse. Come talk soccer with us. Come join us for Copa Libertadores this evening because Boca River, for those of you who haven't seen it, haven't watched it, didn't see the documentary that Copa 90 did that was outstanding.
Oh, it was amazing.
Last year it was the final. This year it's the semifinal. And it's the kind of semifinal that if you're a neutral, you're looking forward to because it's set up for chaos.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's 2-0 with the visiting team coming in to Boca, to La Bombonera, against a team that is desperate.
I saw a magical stat that said Boca have hosted River 13 times in Libertadores matches and have never lost, winning 7 while drawing another 6.
Ooh.
Tell you something?
I'm just saying, if you are...
Is that where your Halloween candy's going this evening?
Hey, look, I'm just saying...
Well, there's a difference between winning or drawing the match tonight and going through.
True.
That's
Yes.
the...
Correct.
Winning or drawing the match tonight, nobody at La Bombonera Because there will not be any River fans in the building, first off.
No,
that's
zero.
not happening because nobody wants to see that. Not because we don't like River, just because nobody wants to see those two fans in the same building.
No.
Anybody in that building does not care what the result is tonight unless they go through. That's all that matters.
And we're going to get to that later on.
Yes.
We're going to get
lots
that later on.
to get into in that. But that's going to kick off about 8:30. So come on down to the Brewhouse, hang out with us, get a Fernetti Coca, and hang out. And we're going to talk some Champions League and European leagues to kick us off. Where do you want to go, Nick?
Let's go ahead and hit up the magical fun world of Serie A. Let's get that over with. Can I get the bad taste out of my mouth?
Yes,
Is that possible?
Milan played this weekend, right?
Milan did play. And I reached out to my friends at Viola Nation. They are the SB Nation account for Fiorentina. And the reason why I go to them is because Pioli managed them during what was an exceptionally difficult season. They had one of their captain, David Astori, passed away, which I've discussed previously on the show. And Pioli helped navigate that in really an admirable way, but he almost led them to relegation last year. So I reached out to Viola Nation and I said, guys, if you could, almost all Milan supporters went nuclear over the Pioli hire. Should they be in full panic mode? What do you think? And their response was, and I quote, Pioli is not a perfect manager by any stretch, but he's the perfect guy to pull a struggling team back from the brink. Our money's on him solidifying things, getting back to basics, simple tactics, and ultimately finishing in the top half, even possibly, and this is what shocked me, possibly a Europa spot. He's not a long-term answer, they don't think, but he could steady the ship. So, he, of course, has to throw in the disclaimer that doesn't mean anything for them financially, which is a whole different, mess entirely.
Yes.
But he's quote-unquote fine. And what you saw out of Milan this weekend was it looked like a team that had a functional manager at the helm. When they were under Marco Giampaolo, they had zero tactical awareness. It seriously looked like they threw 11 guys on the field and said, "Hey, look, we're gonna you're just gonna run around, okay? If you get the ball comes to you, just kick it to somebody who looks open, and we'll figure it out as we go. It's gonna be a great time." And the results speak for themselves, right? Milan just went into the they went sub dumpster fire. I'd say they went reactor 4, and in this past weekend, they looked like they had a coherent plan. The benching of Piontek to start with really shocked me. And that they brought him on later on in the game, but it just seemed to me like there was some sort of coherent plan. So if you're a Milan fan, you're kind of backing away from the Pioli out hashtag.
The hashtag that started 4. Before he was even there.
When he was even mentioned, it went number 4 worldwide trending topipics, Pioli out.
Before he's even officially announced.
Before he was even announced that was going on.
Before you're walking in the door.
Yeah. So
not good.
So I think you're backing up a little bit from that claim at this point. But, I mean, good for Milan. You got it together. Whatever works. Roma, to me, Roma and Sampdoria went to a 0-0 draw. Parma blew the doors off of Genoa 5-1. Fiorentina went 0-0 against Brescia. So, look, guys, Juve is still running the show in Serie A. Whether you want...
1 point ahead of Inter right now.
1 point ahead of Inter, but they have to have a shakeup here. I need Inter to step up. And Conte came out and said, look, I'm not changing. I don't want to change. And you guys either get in gear or get out. And which is exactly what Inter's players needed, I feel. So to round out the top end of Serie A, it's Juve, Inter, Atalanta, Napoli, Cagliari, and Roma. And I'm going to go ahead and say that Atalanta getting blown out of Champions League is the best thing that could have happened to them.
I was about to ask you that.
Yeah, it's the best thing that could have happened. Just focus on the league, because when Napoli gets hot again, they have a win, draw, win, but you can't lose any sleep if you're in the top 4. So I want to see what happens there. Meanwhile, Fiorentina is sitting at 9, and Milan is down at 12. So, Serie A, interesting place right now.
Is Milan going to get into a European place?
No.
No chance?
No.
Okay.
No.
Is that okay?
I'm okay with it. That's fine because the team has put themselves in this position. If you go and you financially wreck yourself, and let's not look, the Elliott Group is not the group that put them into financial danger. That was the man from China with the monopoly money who got them there. The Elliott Group claims that the 140+ million euro in the red that they are right now is acceptable, which is shocking. But in my opinion, there are so many issues here. I'm going to put them in the Man U category, and that I don't want them in Europe at the moment. I don't want them focused on anything other than financial solvency at this point. But you have so many problems that you have to get that sorted. Get yourself sorted before you worry about Europe, going anywhere else. Look, I get it. You want Man U to succeed and thrive and be amazing.
We're getting there.
We're getting there. Don't worry. But I'm just saying.
We're building.
There's a bigger question there with the Saudis being interested in the club, though.
We're building.
Yeah, we're coming to that one.
We're getting there. But what I'm saying is I want you, before you get on a world stage, solve your problems. Solve your problems before you get there.
Yeah,
and
Milan's in a different situation.
Milan's in a way different situation because it's like, all right, we have to sell Donnarumma whether you want to or not. You have to. He's the highest. He's the player with the highest valuation on the squad. You have to move him. Mm-hmm. You have Pepe Reina. Why do you have Pepe Reina backing up Donnarumma? I don't understand. It's an absolute luxury pick. Sell him in January. Get your money and start attacking that debt. But to me, Milan's a dumpster fire. They're going to remain a dumpster fire at minimum for the next 2 years. I don't see anything changing that. And I don't see Europe in their future for the next year or so.
That's probably a good thing. So, Serie A, it looks like it's Juve and Inter starting to separate a little bit from Atalanta and Napoli. Mm-hmm. Probably about what we expected. Inter still kicking around. Can they hang in with Juve?
They can. But the difference is that I want to see what happens with Sarri and his squad rotation.
Uh-huh.
If Sarri rotates the squad as he should, I think Juve can absolutely maintain that top spot. If he does not, and there's some aging legs on that squad, when they start faltering, if Inter can remain consistent, they can move to that top spot. But you have to survive Conte if you're on that Inter squad. You're going to have to put in the legwork. You're going to have to run yourself ragged in training. If you don't, he will consider you surplus to the cause, and he'll boot you out. But Conte's the man who built Juve into the monster that it is. You have to trust him. So if you're Inter, you gotta let it ride. You brought the man in. If he says, I don't care, if anybody on that squad, he says they're surplus to the cause, you got to trust him and roll with it. They can get there, but they have to remain steady.
Let's move over to Spain because Real Madrid played today in Champions League. They got a win in Turkey over Galatasaray, a much-needed win. Zinedine Zidane, there's been all kinds of talk about Zidane and who might be next, and he's already out the door, and is he out the door? This win today keeps them in a decent spot in Champions League. They don't have anything sealed up.
Well, they don't have anything sealed up, but if you manage Real Madrid, you already have 1 foot out the door. The minute you're halfway through signing your name, and 1 foot is like going out the door as you sign it.
Or somebody's pushing you from behind already.
Exactly.
That might be it.
So I think he will be gone. Again, the question that always comes up in these situations, who do you bring in?
Okay, then who? That's the thing.
Pochettino? Look.
Also true.
Yes.
I think Mourinho is by far the more palatable answer but I don't think
always Arsene Wenger with Sakib. Does he want to do anything?
I don't think he wants Real Madrid.
I don't know if he wants to. I don't think he wants Madrid.
I don't think he wants Real Madrid.
I do not know if I want to go to Madrid. And
that's true. No, they can find the number. Like that's for sure.
That's just not how it goes.
Look, I'm
not interested in doing anything outside of the continent, so I'm just having fun right now. I'm going to continue smoking 9 packs of cigarettes a day.
I think Wenger is one of those guys who has ideology that he wants to. That he's the purist. He has philosophies and ideas that he wants to implement. I don't care who you are when you take the Madrid job. There's no philosophy. It's just win.
Well, then don't talk about Pochettino at Madrid.
Yeah, because he's going to want to do it.
He's going to want time. He's going to want to build a squad. that's not a great fit for him if that becomes the possibility. Jose Mourinho's the ideal.
But
they do. I mean, Madrid has a lot of young players, and I think it could be attractive, but does Pochettino get the time that he would want to play the way he wants to play?
No.
It's a good question. It's a different type of job.
Yeah, so he brings a great point for those who couldn't hear. He said, does any manager get time when you have that embarrassment of riches that Real Madrid has? And the answer is no, you don't. Because when you take that job, you're saying, I'm the man. I am the manager of Real Madrid. I can coach anybody. I can win anywhere, anytime, any place because I have bottomless pockets. Mm-hmm. And you, if you're the man, you better do it.
So somebody, the type of manager who's a perfect fit for a club like that is a Carlo Ancelotti, who's not married to a certain style of play, will go in and adapt and get the best out of what he has to work with.
Carlo of 5 years ago, sure. Carlo now,
it's a different different conversation. Now. But that's the style of manager that does well at a Real Madrid. Correct. Barcelona, on the other hand, very different thing. You've got to fit exactly what they want, or they don't want you. You're not going to work at Barca.
Right, which is why I think they need to call Dom Torrent in January. And if you want to get back, you're obviously not going to get. We've talked about this before. You're not getting Pep Guardiola. That ship has sailed. But if you want that similar style philosophy, you need to get somebody who studied at his heels for a number of years.
But do they need to? Because they're in first in the league right now.
But I think they do.
Wins.
I think they do. Look, we had the same conversation last year. You know, when or not even last year. God, it felt so long ago. When Ole Gunnar Solskjaer first took the job, we were like, well, maybe he needs to stay. Maybe we need to keep him on. Maybe he's long term. And because the wins were there. And what are we talking about now? Does Ole come? Does Ole go? What do we do? Look, I think Barca, they need to get back to what they were. They want to anyway. That's the idea. Let's get back to basics. Let's get to who we are. That style, the beauty that we, the successful style that made us just an unstoppable force for so long. And you can't get the man, so you have to get the next closest thing to the man. And I think that's Dom Torrent. Because otherwise, you're looking at what? Carlos Puyol? I mean, he's not ready.
The thing is, Barca has always turned to guys who didn't have a ton of experience.
Correct.
You look at Pep. I mean, Pep had 1 year with the B team. You look at Luis Enrique. Not much experience for him when he went there. It's been a situation where the philosophy and the personality almost mean more than anything else to Barcelona. Mm-hmm. When Tata Martino goes there and has the year that he did, it's not like he was a bum. He did not win a trophy, and that's generally not acceptable.
Right.
More importantly, though, he didn't play the style of soccer, and he didn't come from the house. He was an outsider.
Right.
So if you don't fit and you're not getting the best results ever, they're going to push you out the door.
2 strikes already.
And that's where Ernesto Valverde kind of is right now, okay, everything looks good, but if he doesn't win Champions League, if he doesn't win the league, if he's not dominant, there already are those whispers about the style of play and about who he is and what he wants to do.
Well, it's the fallback. It's the convenient fallback, right? Well, you're not – you don't win with style
Philosophy
points.
is such a key thing at Barca. It's really unique in that situation. Out of the mega clubs in the world, you have to fit Barca to work there, and that's not necessarily – a guy with a ton of managerial experience. Yeah. That can be a Carlos Puyol. That could be, honestly, Pep's assistant right now, if they could pry him away from Manchester City, Mikel Arteta. I don't think he wants to. I don't think Pep wants to revisit it.
I think he's been there.
I think Pep at this stage,
New York City.
I think he's probably got at least another job before that. I think he'll manage in MLS, and I think he'll manage in New York City.
Yeah,
but later.
I just think that there's too much stupid money with Man City. I think there's too much stupid money with Man City, and as long as they view him as the architect,
but I don't think he wants that. He's not somebody who likes to stay for a long time. This is year 5 at City, correct?
Yeah.
It's the longest he's been anywhere. This is 4, so this matches Barcelona.
People can say, I don't want to stay somewhere all they want until that check shows up that's a wee bit larger than the last one.
It's true.
With a few more zeros on the end of it, and then I'm unhappy. I would like to leave. You're going to pay me how much? I love Manchester. This is an amazing city.
I don't know if that motivates Pep the same way. I really don't. I do think Pep will end up managing in Italy at some point. I think he likes that game. He played there for a little bit.
Yep.
I think he wants to go conquer Italy. He's never going to go anywhere else in Spain, obviously. He's never going to go anywhere else in Germany. He's never going to go anywhere else in England. I think it's Italy. I think probably a national team job later in his career. I do think he comes and manages in the United States. I really do.
I would like to see him with Roma. I would like to see Pep with Roma.
That's an interesting one.
Yeah, because it's an owner who has money, who's getting them out of financial fair play trouble.
Would he stay out of the way?
I think he would.
For a guy like Pep, you think he would?
I think that would be
Jim Pilata. Well, here's the thing: if Jim Pilata maintains ownership of the team, I think he stays out of the way. But there are rumors that there's I believe a Qatari group that's looking at coming in and buying them up. And if that's the case and that happens, I mean, again, how much? Yeah.
Maybe.
You're telling me
very
that
true.
There are people from the...
Barca's problems are because of the fascination with the younger players, because it kind of holds them back, because every time there's a youngster, they're like, okay, this guy can be the next guy, and
it's tough.
Uncertainty at that point.
It's a good question. So it's about Barca and the younger players, and I saw a list of the players who debuted at the end of Pep's time and then all the way through to now. And you really are looking at 2 or 3 that you know much about. Now, there's been some others that have went on and played elsewhere and have had nice careers, but not Barcelona-level careers.
Right.
Since that golden generation, it's really Busquets. God, I mean... Yeah, Pedro. I think he was in the earlier group, though.
Yeah, I mean, he still played.
Yeah, Busquets is the star of the last group, and I think he was the first one to debut.
Sergio Roberto would be the last one.
That's it. Yes, that was who I was trying to think of. Thank you. Sergio Roberto was the other one. I think those are the only 2 who are still there and still playing significant roles and have been important. So when you look at Barca, I think there's twofold. Somebody's got to go in and fix La Masia and get them back to where they've been. This has happened before in Barcelona's time. This is what Johan Cruyff went back there to do.
Right.
When he went into management, built the dream team, but also built La Masia. It's what Pep went in to do, to take a team that was a little broken under Rijkaard at the end and get it back to the way Barcelona plays. I think now that's probably their next move. When it happens, I don't know. Is it now? Is it a year? Is it 2 years? A lot of it depends on how much success Valverde can have, because he's got to have more success than your average Barcelona manager for people to be happy.
So why not, if you want to get back to it, then why not call Erik ten Hag from Ajax?
That's another one.
Open it up and say, come in, and we want you to rebuild.
Yeah. No, that would actually be a brilliant hire. That would make a lot of sense.
To me, that's because if you want to get back to that, if you don't, if
you need
you
both.
Feel, If you, I mean, the thing is, do you call Dom Torrent and say, look, take over Barca B, we're going to groom you, Erik ten Hag's going to come in, he's going to manage the first team, and then you guys together are going to restructure the youth system, and when Erik moves on to some football director of football operations or whatever for Barca, then Dom, it'll be your time. Then you will run the club. I mean, I think that's something that could make a lot of sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But you're right. You have to get back to basics and get someone who understands the roots. And I think Erik ten Hag would understand that.
No, it's a really good fit. The Barca Ajax connections run really, really deep. Let's move over to England and let's move over to the big story.
No,
one of you say it. Thank you. All right. The big story, where do you want to start? Which draw do you want to start with?
Exciting times. It just means more.
Norwich and Bournemouth.
Not that one. That was the wrong choice, sir. Go ahead and tell us about Norwich and Bournemouth, please.
Goalless draw. Move on. Teemu Pukki, once again, did not help me in fantasy. Neither did Callum Wilson. Thanks for participating.
Okay, fair enough.
Thanks for all of that.
All right, next one. Which one you want to pick?
Oh, what do we have on the board?
There's 2 kind of important ones.
Oh.
Flip a coin.
No. Oh, what happened with Watford?
Tottenham and Watford, 1-1.
Oh, God.
Wow, that was exciting.
Yeah, VAR, that's going to be something we'll have to talk about here in a second. Saqib's going to come up here and bash somebody over the head with a bottle.
Yeah, I mean,
I already
really?
know that's coming.
Yeah.
Probably me. Tottenham, man.
Was Tottenham looking ahead to today?
Should Tottenham be looking ahead to anything at this
No.
point?
No.
Tottenham feels like the most toxic situation.
And so, of course, what happens? All or nothing. Tottenham Hotspur.
Oh, my God. That's going to be must-watch.
Amazing.
Of all the years to do the documentary
Sunderland
about a
Till
team,
I Die was perfect until we now have All or Nothing.
No, this is better. I mean, the Manchester City All or Nothing was good because you got all the behind-the-scenes with Guardiola, but this, I mean, if they really get everything.
Yeah.
I want
and
to
are allowed
see,
to edit everything.
I want to see players begging to be able to leave. I want to see players begging to be sold. I want to see Pochettino like crying, banging on the door, asking for players, asking for sales. I need drama.
And Daniel Levy puts on his Beats headphones.
That's right.
Jared in the office.
Man, that's going to be ridiculous. Tottenham, I can't believe they didn't cancel it.
I know.
To me, that's the contract that you have to pull.
You pay whatever you got to pay. If they need the money to pay off the stadium, man, that better be a lot of money.
That is something
that's going to make your club look bad.
But that's the thing. If you're Spurs and you miss Champions League, and you've documented it in beautiful 4K footage that debut on Amazon Prime,
does that make up for Champions League?
Oh my God! And look, that Jeff Bezos better be on line one. Jeff Bezos better be on line one.
And line two.
Line one, line two, and he better have 6 warehouse workers on lines 8, 9, and 10. Give me the money. Jeff.
Get that check here now.
Jeff, would you like to buy a team? We can list your team on Amazon Prime, Jeff. Come on, man. Let's go. We'll put Amazon on the front. We'll have a buy it now sale. It'll be incredible. Guaranteed 2-day delivery.
They'll have the little chips inside the kits where you can sit there and if you get the QC code, discount.
What'll happen is that Jeff Bezos will monitor the GPS in which any player who does not run at maximum speed the entire game, they're gone. They're fired immediately. And then they're going to cut the wages down to like $4.15 an hour. That's right.
True.
That's right.
They'll come up in a nondescript van at the last moment.
That's it. It's going to be this creepy van that pulls up outside of Emirates Stadium and drops them off.
Well, you want the rumor?
Kick them out in the back.
You want one of the rumors that was floating around?
Please.
Real Madrid might be sending a couple guys in an unmarked van over with Amazon Prime. Isco and Mariano Diaz for Christian Eriksen in January.
Do it.
Oh, yeah, do it. If you get anything, do it. Take it.
Take it.
Dude, you need guys.
You get 2 players, especially like Isco? Yeah, take it.
Sell, Mortimer, sell.
Done it. You got 3 other guys who are going to be out of contract. Get whatever you can.
The Dukes are cornering the orange juice market. Sell.
Who's got the bigger open market right now, Tottenham or the Atlanta Falcons?
Well, that's accurate, though.
I mean,
that is really a profound question because
everybody's for sale.
I have hot takes.
Thomas Dimitrov is Crazy
takes.
Eddie right now.
You have to be.
That's not bad. That's actually a pretty good deal.
That's really good.
Watch him throw the game-winning pass in the Super Bowl.
You just can't sell to the Pats if you're.
No, you sell to
you can't
anyone.
sell to the Saints.
If you.
Yeah, you can't do the Saints. You can't do the Saints or anybody else in the division.
I get 28-3. I understand.
It's not ideal.
28-3 broke this city. It broke it. Like the Monday after the Super Bowl, I have never felt a vibe in the city like I felt after 28-3.
I'll do one better for you. I was in Boston for the Bean Pot, watching this at a friend's house.
Wow!
And so I caught both sides of the whole thing. We're in the house, and everybody's sitting there going, it's a party, Patriots fans who weren't there. But apparently one of the husbands was dressed in Patriot Pete gear in the stadium, and they were FaceTiming at halftime. Anyway, yeah, that's what we're getting. So first half happens, and everyone in this house is looking at us like we're the bubonic plague. We don't want to talk to you. You're going to pay for the pizza now. You're going to pay for the beer. You're paying for everything.
Tip the driver, John. Tip the driver.
Exactly. And then as everything's going third and fourth quarter, we had to continue to tell everybody there, my wife and I are not Falcons fans.
Right.
We're just here for the social experiment.
Yeah.
Third and fourth quarter happened. And we, much like everybody else, we're just sitting there going, oh, my God.
No.
And that's what it was. That's what.
No. I
One
said a few other words.
before we go any further.
Plus the giggles.
If you have never been to Boston for Bean Pot,
Oh, my God.
it's amazing.
It is.
It's the greatest hockey tournament in the history of mankind. You must go. Bean Pot is amazing. Spend whatever money you have to.
Okay.
And it is the
Yeah.
fastest hockey I have ever witnessed in
Yep.
my life. BU and BC played each other.
Yes.
And one half of the stadium is going nuts, right?
Yep.
So it's the BC side. And this cheerleader who must have been like 4'2" and about 37.5 pounds gets hoisted in the air. Her face is turning purple, and she's screaming, "Safety school! Safety school!" And before you know it, half the garden is on their feet.
Yeah.
Safety school! Safety!
Oh, yeah,
And like
it was-
all the BU fans are like cowering at the other
Oh,
end
yeah.
by this like sonic shockwave hitting them.
And you had the BU people were doing, was it E. coli jokes
Oh,
at
my
BC
God.
for the food poisoning that was going on campus?
Wow.
Oh, geez.
It is amazing to be there, especially with BU and BC. And there were 28-3 chants, no lie.
Of course there were.
Of course.
From the BU people, there were 28-3 chants going after
Yeah,
Matt Ryan.
I'm not surprised.
the
Let's-
other draw.
Well, let's finish with Tottenham just for a second.
Okay.
So Pochettino was fairly open in his post-match comments. He's like, I understand the business. I'm 47. Why do you think I have white hair? Why do you think I don't have white hair? Because I don't pay attention to any of this. He knows that he's at risk of getting fired.
Oh, yeah.
I don't. Does he care?
I think at this point.
Does he want to get fired at this point?
Yeah, I mean, seriously, think of the lack of investment that he's perceived
Right.
that from his own ideas.
That's
It's like
the
Daniel
thing.
Levy not backing him up. It's like, hey, I need guys. Letting 3 guys go. Would you want to be around there?
No.
Is it like a
No.
game of chicken
Yes.
between Pochettino,
Yes.
like, I
Yes.
kind of want to get fired, I don't want to quit, and
Yes.
Levy, like, I want him to quit, I don't want to
me.
fire him?
Fire
Because
me.
if you fire me
Pay the man.
without cause, like something that would break the contract, you're paying me. So I'm going to sit at home and you're going to pay me,
yeah.
and I don't have to deal with this firestorm anymore.
Pochettino, I think
Please.
he wants either that to happen or he wants somebody to come in for him
Yeah.
and pay to get him out.
That's fine.
Pay the man.
He doesn't wanna
Who's coming
walk.
to get you? Who's coming to get you?
I mean, Madrid is definitely a valid one. I just don't think he's the best fit.
No.
Don't you think it's very similar to what happened to Klopp at the end at Dortmund?
That's a really good point.
There we go.
It was kind of ending, but
So the comparison is made that it's similar to Klopp back at Dortmund. Yeah.
When he was ready to go,
Right.
and it's like, I want to leave, but I don't want to walk.
Yeah.
I want to have the opportunity to go somewhere else, but I don't want to leave what I've done here. It's really
Yeah, you're in the in-betweens.
awkward.
Right.
And Tottenham, I think it's even more exaggerated because they need a new roster. Like, that's their
Yeah.
biggest problem is they needed to start a new rebuild. And if you're going to do it properly, you need to be there for 2-3 years.
Yeah.
I don't think he wants to be there for a rebuild.
No. Well, you've already look. You know what you're getting. It's like having that significant other who makes a fool of you at a party, right? So you go to a party with this significant other, right? And the
Okay.
significant other.
This sounds
every
like personal
time-
evidence.
I'm waiting to see where this
Yeah.
is going.
Every time you go out, that significant other makes a fool of themselves and a fool of you.
Okay.
At some point, when your friends say, "Hey, there's a party this weekend," you're going to say, "Do I really want to go? Do I really want to deal with this? Knowing what's going to happen, do I want to deal with this?" At some point, you're going to say, "Nope, I'm staying home."
Pochettino's the drunk friend you can't take to parties now?
No.
Daniel Levy's the
Daniel
drunk
Levy's
friend
the
you
drunk
can't
friend.
take to parties.
friend you can't
He's
take
the
to
drunk
parties.
friend you can't
Okay.
take to a party. Because why do it? At some point, you're like, I'm done with this. I'm so tired of dealing with it. You know?
I mean,
And
it happens. We've all got them. You know.
look, what we suggest is anytime you go out somewhere, and of course, if you are consuming any alcoholic beverages, we always suggest that you take some sort of ride sharing or taxi option.
Yes, of course.
Now,
Or
if you
have
want
a- or
value,
have a DD.
If I could though, if you want value for those beverages, you come up to the Brewhouse Cafe
They're
where they
very
have
nice.
wonderful
Hey.
drink specials. lined up and
We
ready
get like
for
a
you.
bell to ding
Look at
when
that.
you do this.
Ding. We need the bell.
$5 Fernet e Coke tonight.
I mean, look, guys, that's what needs to happen.
When we get into Copa Libertadores, we're going to get a Fernet
See,
e Coke.
that's your promo for the second half hour.
Yes.
that's your promo for the second half
Okay,
hour.
all right, we've held it off long enough.
Let's go.
The Liverpool and Manchester
I thought we
United
were
fans.
I thought we were talking about
Yeah.
Leicester and Burnley. Okay.
It's the tease, Jason. The tease. You
All
have
right.
to get there.
Well, we're there. It's 6:42, and
Okay.
it's time to talk Liverpool and Manchester United. Where do you want to start?
John.
Oh,
At the end.
Yeah.
All right, Saqib might have to come up here on
All right,
this
Saqib, come here.
because
Tag out.
I need Saqib's thoughts on this one first.
Saqib's up here. He has his
thinking.
entourage behind him.
He's thinking.
They all mostly hate me, anyways. I did say last week that anything short of a victory would be unacceptable.
Okay.
And I have to stand by that.
Okay.
There's no reason we should have not won the game. I don't think we were outmatched tactically, physically in any way. I think they came out flat. The one thing Ole did very well was he neutralized our fullbacks in a way, not necessarily neutralized, but he kept them committed on defense in a way that a lot of teams haven't done yet. I hope they didn't take note, everyone that's watching. But they really kept Robertson and Trent in check and kind of exposed to everyone how crucial they are in our build-up play and how we score goals. When Robbo did finally get a clear chance, turned into a goal, 85 minutes. That said, United had one clear chance. They scored it. It was a brilliant cross. Good goal. Can't take anything away from it. We missed Salah. For all the Liverpool supporters and detractors that talk trash about Salah and how if he's overrated or what does he do when he's not scoring goals and so on, if Salah plays this game, it's different. And I think everyone would agree.
All right, hold on. We have counterpoint
We have
here.
time for crossfire.
It's crossfire here on soccer over there.
I mean, I can't really disagree with what you've said because Manchester United, and here's the thing. This is the funny part. Before the game, if you told me 1-1 draw Manchester United, will you take it? Yes. And if I asked you the same question, you'd say no.
Of course. I still wouldn't take it.
After the game, it was kind of the opposite way, where as a United fan, I was like, we could have won that game, and
So could we.
so and I had never expected that. So I think yes, we neutralized Trent, and you missed Salah. We missed Paul Pogba. Martial was not fit. So I think even we had a lot of injuries that, could have helped us out a lot. And I think overall, it was a proper rivalry matchup between two teams. And I think United were up for it, given our form, given how much we needed the result as compared to Liverpool. But at the same time, I think you have to give credit to the backline that absolutely neutralized most of the creative threat that you had all game.
You have to give credit to Manchester United.
For a 14th place team, that wasn't bad.
No, and it's funny. If it was the exact same team, the exact same scenario, and you change the name Manchester United to Burnley, we probably destroy it. But this is the game that nobody can ever predict. It's just the way it goes, and you
you've
can't
lived
take
through
anything
like
away
20
from
years
United.
of you guys coming back in games like this when we were favored. So
You guys know how it
and
feels.
And it's finally like the tables have turned. And for Manchester United, I think it was a big point to win. You don't know what's going to happen, but I think for Liverpool, the way to look at it is you got a point when you were not at your best.
Oh, yeah,
And-
morning after, yeah, definitely. You're like, of course we'll take the point, but I think it has to go down as 2 points dropped rather than 1 point earned for Liverpool.
And I think the fact that as a United fan, I can say the same thing is huge for us after that game.
There's no hiding behind it. The whole world has to take it for what it is. Liverpool dropped 2 points when they shouldn't have. But I think if we replay that game, it's a different result. You guys caught us in the perfect storm, coming off international break and everything, and you did everything right, and you got the point. Good for you.
Okay, but here's the concern. He said
Sounded.
good for you.
Slightly condescending,
So hold
maybe.
on. I'm
a little bit.
not quite done with you yet. I'm not quite done from the Liverpool perspective here.
I'll take all of you.
There have been those who have been waiting for the slip, if you will.
You had to do it again, didn't you?
those who have been waiting on the slip for
Catch
Liverpool. Is this what does Liverpool have to do to ensure that they can scare off the ghosts, that they're not afraid of the shadows? What do they do to make sure that this does not become a thing for them? Because seasons are made on moments like this.
Well, the beautiful thing about this game is until there isn't, there's always another game to play. We've got Genk in the middle of the week. Is that how you say that, Genk? I've never known that. Genk?
Yeah, Genk.
Okay. We've got them in the middle of the week, which we should batter them. No disrespect to them, but there's levels to this game, and if we want to be at the top, we should be, handsomely beating teams like Genk. No disrespect, once again. That's one way to exercise those demons right away.
Right.
And then, of course, going back to Spurs, on the weekend, that's a huge game. Again, I think it's a case of the opposition needing it more than we do, in that United definitely needed something from that game more than Liverpool did. That's not an insult. That's just reality. I think everyone would admit it. You've turned your season around, potentially.
There we go.
Hold up. Come back in.
And after this, I've got a question for both of you, two, that I want to ask.
The only thing I'll say is, for a team that's never won the Premier League to basically come out and say that, okay, this game is, we didn't need the game as much as the other team. You lost the league by 2 points last year. And it was a draw at Old Trafford where you dropped points. So I think it's very disrespectful as a Liverpool fan when you come out and say, hey...
I think it's very disrespectful as a Manchester United team to be in the bottom half of the table.
It is.
That's
but
disrespectful
at least
to
we
you.
know our reality.
You're not mad at me.
Our reality.
You're mad at United. It's okay. It's all right.
Prem fight. This is what we fight to you.
All right. Here's a question I do have for you guys. I'm going to try to get this back on some rails here. Find some rails to get it back on, because I don't know where they're at.
That's amazing.
All right. So Jurgen Klopp, after the match, he said, when I've been in England, Man United have pretty much set up like this, talking about how defensive they were. Everyone built it up like a mountain, but one team set out to defend, and one team made the game. We didn't lose anything. It's just a point. Let's carry on. I thought Jose Mourinho's comment afterwards was epic, first off, because Mourinho, when he was asked about Klopp's thoughts, he said, because he never beat Manchester United at Old Trafford. He didn't like the menu. He likes meat and got fish, so he wasn't happy.
Wow.
Is it a little silly to complain about defensive tactics from another team?
Personally, I never buy that. And even if it's coming from Klopp, if I have to be consistent, I can't buy it. You play your game. You can't control how the other team is playing, and it's not up to you. You go to win, or you go to get a draw if that's what you're going for. But you can't be mad at what the opposition does, especially. And honestly, I'm going to be a little harsh on Liverpool. The reality is, it doesn't matter who we play in the world. We should be able to win when we're playing at our best, because that's what we're trying to show ourselves as. So
that's why I thought the comments were.
But listen,
really weird.
When you get weird comments from top managers, it's because there's so much emotion and hype in it. And this is the most emotional hype game, there is right now.
I'd like to think if he was maybe a little calmer afterwards, he wouldn't have said that, because I don't think it's a good look.
He'll laugh it off in the next conference like he always does. Look, Klopp is not immune from having a gaffe in a conference or saying a little bit more than he should and all that. And he owns it, because later on he's always like, yeah, that was funny, wasn't it? He's just that guy. So every manager, every top manager has their personality. We don't need to get into the specifics of how Mourinho does or how Pep does in their conferences. Everyone does their thing. And Wenger and all these guys. So I don't blame Klopp for saying what he said. I don't agree with it.
I don't think it was the right move to say it. I think it came off as almost a little bit of a position of weakness.
Okay, sure, but I don't think it matters in the long run. Well, obviously that remains to be seen. But I will say, I think that Mourinho's team is the only team that Klopp beat. Mourinho's Manchester United.
At Old Trafford, they didn't.
Not at Old Trafford, but at, what was it, 3-0 at Anfield?
And
then we got him sacked.
The only time Klopp's beaten Man United.
There's a few people on that list.
So for Mourinho to say something about Klopp's never won at Old Trafford against United, he's the only Manchester United manager that Klopp has beaten so far. and he also got him sacked the next week. So,
Okay.
let the chips fall where they may.
All right. Okay.
So the only thing I'll say is I think it wasn't really Mourinho's place, but Mourinho.
He's on TV. They're going to set him up for that one.
Yes, and so
It's
one thing I
exactly
will
Mourinho's
say
place. He's a pundit now.
when Klopp does come out and say stuff like, "Oh, it was defensive," and whenever I come
One
here,
team came
it's
to
defensive.
play,
Yes.
and yeah.
It honestly, a team's job, if you're a champion, is to win, and attacking, defensive, no matter the way you play, you got to win. And I think nowadays managers, even including Mourinho when he was at Chelsea and at Man United, they blame too much. Oh, this team came out defensive. And don't you think if you're an attacking guru or like the new rock and roll football guy, you should be able to break defenses down. That's your job. Like, you've made your name on attacking football. So when you complain about defenses, it's basically like, hey, there's a weakness I have in my game, and I'm just going to blame the other team's tactics instead of saying, hey, it was actually very good tactics from the other manager to make sure I didn't score more goals.
Right.
While I agree with everything you just said, I do want to point out a lot of times in these interviews when you get these sound bites from managers or players or whoever, they never tell you what the question was that they're being asked, right? You rarely ever get the question. I'm sure the question was like, do you think United set up too defensively? And then he's responding to that. And then it turns into some major sound bite. And this happens almost everything we talk about like this. I just want to point that out there too.
That's fair. No, that's
he's
fair.
not just
That's
going
fair.
out of his way to say, yeah, they were too defensive. He's being asked these questions, and so he's responding in kind. Still, I wouldn't have said it.
We've been hard enough on Liverpool. Let's turn it
Well,
around to Manchester United
That's
now.
what happens when you're a champion, though.
It is.
When
Everybody's out to get you.
When you're
So for United,
Champions of Europe.
does
Champions League.
this result give you some momentum because you're 2 points clear of the relegation zone right now? Does this get you going at all? It's true. I mean, it's the 14th in the table. It's 2 points clear.
Twitter fingers turn to trigger fingers.
It's a fact.
Oh my God! Hey, well,
I would like Mourinho's take on this.
I mean, Man United is sitting there at 10 points, right?
They haven't won in
Newcastle's
4.
at 8.
And somebody's at 7th at 15 points. So, like, it's 2 games.
Who's got
It's true.
12? Who's got 12 right now?
Who's got 12 points?
Yeah.
A bunch
Not
of teams.
Manchester United.
Tottenham's one of them.
Oh,
Yeah.
Hey, up the blades.
by the way, then.
Okay. Since we're going to dodge the question on Manchester United.
That's right.
Well,
Can we
Well,
talk
there's
about
always
Crystal
another dog
Palace
in
at
the
6? How about that?
all right, we might have to call out to the. We might need a Crystal Palace representative to come up and tell us about
we might
Palace
need
for the
something.
day.
Here we go.
All right, let's get the Crystal Palace update.
Evening, everyone. How's it going?
Good. Fill us in on Palace. Sixth place in the table right now.
Yeah, so we've been, I think a lot of people would think that we've been reasonably lucky in certain games. But if you look back this calendar year, we're actually 4th if you ran the table in terms of... Oh, I think I'm sitting in something wet here.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Oh, don't know if that was me. Sorry about that. Anyway, yeah, so I think we're things are going really, really well.
2 words, Wilfred Zaha.
Yeah, he's not been really good so far this season. I mean, legend, absolutely love him. One of my all-time favourite players. Even if he left, he'd still be an absolute legend. He's Palace born and bred. He's got the Eagles crest on his swimming pool at his mansion. But he wants to go somewhere better, which I kind of understand. He wants to, experience some European football. But I mean, right now we're 6th. We're a couple of points off the Champions League places.
Where did this come from? Because everyone's looking.
We're right. We're not a bad side.
With Zaha, MacArthur, and Benteke, who's been out to lunch ever since,
mate.
the Nixon
Yeah,
administration.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, yeah, no. Right. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I haven't dropped any so far. Have I?
You're good.
No.
Oh, yeah. Good. Start talking a bit more about Benteke. I might drop the C-bomb. So, but yeah, no. The poor lad.
The Belgian bread loaf.
Yeah, exactly. He's my mates call him the phone box because it's about as mobile Phone boxes are probably still more useful these days.
Yeah, no kidding.
But yeah,
I'm gonna
anyway.
steal that. That's a good one. I like that.
But yeah, no, he's the poor lad just has no confidence. I don't know what it is. But somehow scoring a goal against San Marino seems to have like perked him up a little bit.
Even though it was against Severus.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you take what you can get.
Yeah, right. I think I probably would have scored, to be fair. Even after like.
I was going to say Cadbury would have scored again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But anyway, so when he came on against Man City, we were. It was a pretty awful performance from us in that game. So let's kind of gloss over that part of the season.
We'll skip that one.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
But 3 wins around it, and I guess what stands out to me when I look at the table and I see where Palace is at. One, can they stay there? Can they compete for a European spot? And where are the goals going to come from? Because 8 goals in 9 matches. The defense has been outstanding, but only 8 goals.
Yeah.
That's not going to get it to Europe.
The answer in one word is January is where the goals kind of come from.
But
how much money are we working with here?
I don't know. I really don't know. I'm hearing the 3 players that have been linked are Michy Batshuayi again, who would be fantastic. I'd love that, but it seems like Chelsea don't really want to let him go. The other one is another kind of out of favour Chelsea striker, Olivier Giroud. Which I
There's been
would
a lot of talk about him going a lot of different places.
I would really like that, but it would be a really short-term thing, obviously.
Right.
Yeah, he comes down in the 60th, very short term.
Yeah, exactly. The third option is a very interesting one. Alfredo Morelos, the Colombian.
Whoa.
Rangers
Keeps
fan.
Freaking out.
You guaranteed Rangers win the league. I think even with Morelos, you're going to lose that one. But sorry, mate. That's Huh?
Have you ever seen Gerrard win the league?
I've ever said, hey!
Oh, man. Savages.
Yeah. Whoa. Bam, 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 bam. Yeah, no. I've never seen Gerrard win any league ever. But yeah, no. So that's a really interesting one.
So get an attacker in January, even if it's just for the 6 months, just to finish out the season.
Exactly.
Can that get you over the hump?
I think it might be able to get us at least our best season in the Premier League.
Right.
Like I say, if you the form isn't so kind of temporary. Like everyone's looking at the table thinking Palace in 6th after 9 games, But like I say, since the turn of the year, we are 4th.
So I'm going to ask for a prediction.
Yeah.
The next 4
Ooh.
at Arsenal, hosting Leicester, at Chelsea, hosting Liverpool. How many points in those 4?
To be honest with you, being very honest, I'd take 4 points out of that.
Yeah? I think that's legit.
Yeah. I'd love 6.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love 12. It'd be brilliant. But I don't think it'll happen. But you never know. We'll see.
4 would be, I think, the minimum.
Yeah, right?
To kind of still be in shouting distance of stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think you got to get 4 out of that.
I agree.
Who are you taking the points from?
Ooh,
Arsenal.
That's a very
Hello?
good question.
It's at Arsenal this weekend.
Yeah, well, we did them there last season, didn't we?
Okay.
So I don't know.
Point with Leicester and take all from Arsenal?
Yeah, that seems fair.
I could see flipping that.
Arsenal.
Yeah.
Because you're at home to Leicester.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to go
home to
with 3.
Leicester.
I'm going to go with 3 points off Liverpool. And,
See, that's where I was hoping this was going to go.
Yeah.
I was waiting for Sakib's eyes to bug out of his head.
And then, maybe a point elsewhere. That would do.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will definitely come check in with us again. Like I
Cool.
want
I
to
will
hear
do.
about Palace because it's a club that, like, honestly, I don't know a ton about. What I've known the most about Palace has been the Frank de Boer situation. Because
of course.
being here in Atlanta and the whole situation with that.
Yeah, a bit like
It's bounced back from that. I mean, that fit obviously wasn't the right fit. It didn't make sense for either side.
No, exactly. I mean, for me, there's always going to be like a twinge of regret there. I think a lot of Palace fans were expecting quite a lot. Yeah. And there's certain things that we all... I mean, it's hard to like a lot in, 4 defeats out of 4 games.
Yeah. But hey, you were turning it around against Burnley.
Yeah, well, we were. We should have won that game, to be fair.
And how different would that have been for a lot of different places?
Yeah, right, exactly.
You know?
But like, what we really kind of liked was the fact that he was really like chucking in a few younger players, and we haven't really seen that. Roy's, I mean, obviously last season we had kind of breakout star Aaron Wan-Bissaka, but
I've heard of him.
Yeah, huh?
Yeah, I've heard of him.
Yeah, you've heard of him, yeah? Yeah, I don't know where he is now. I'm not sure where he's gone. But yeah,
he was fantastic for me as a budget pick in fantasy last year.
Oh,
my
mate.
God.
Oh, yeah. I bet he was. Absolute bargain. Don't know how much. I think it cost a little bit more than that to whatever
Twice.
club he's at now.
A little bit.
Yeah,
6.5,
Yeah, something like that at least. But yeah, what has kind of disappointed us, if anything has disappointed us about Roy Hodgson, is a real lack of kind of desire to play the younger lads.
Right.
And it's something we really like. I'm from Crystal Palace. My mates are all Crystal Palace. My family's all Crystal Palace. We like seeing players who are Crystal Palace as well,
Yeah.
like lads from the area.
Yeah.
Crystal Palace, if people don't know, is like a kind of area in South London. Wilfred Zaha is from Crystal Palace. Aaron Wan-Bissaka is basically from round there. Roy Hodgson's from there, and our chairman's from there. So like we're a club represented by our kind of local area.
Yeah.
And so we want to see more of the young lads who are from that kind of area, sort of like coming through into the first team. So yeah, that's the real kind of the one big criticism of Roy.
Yeah, because for me with Hodgson, it's always been almost Tony Pulis-like, where it's like get to 40 points, defend, get your wins at home when you can, knock off on the little guys who are probably going to be relegated, and then try to get your points, and then when you get to 40, then figure it out.
So we've really had if you want to name like a kind of dour sort of like defence-first manager from the
Pulis.
Premier League, we've had them all. Yeah. Tony Pulis, Sam Allardyce, Neil Warnock,
Yes.
Alan Pardew to an extent. I mean, like he liked to think he was kind of progressive.
He makes you think he's progressive.
Yeah,
I don't
but
think
he's not
progressive.
at all.
No,
Exactly.
he's not.
Yeah, you compare him to the other guys.
Yeah.
He was
Uh-huh.
like Bernie Sanders compared to everybody else.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, unfortunately, under him, we didn't really have much of a left wing, but sorry about that one.
That's all right, man.
Anyway, moving on. Roy Hodgson of the of all of the managers that we've had since we've been in the Premier League, I would say Roy Hodgson is the most kind of progressive.
Yeah.
He's not as defence-minded as a lot of people kind of think. He's pragmatic in terms of he will build a side around what he has.
Yeah.
And the team we had back end of not last season but the season before with Ruben Loftus-Cheek, and he was a big part of that side. That's the best football we've played since we were in the Premier League, and it was superb. Played some really, really good stuff. High scoring games, a lot of goals. That was the season that Frank de Boer started out in.
Right. Okay.
Right.
That's
so
right.
when Roy kind of turned it around, and I think that's last season. That was the other big disappointment, that we kind of didn't kick on in terms of stylistically, where we finished the Hodgson's first season in charge looking really, really good, and then the season after that it sort of like petered out again.
It's a tough balance, I think, for a club at the size, and we've talked about it all season. It feels like you have Manchester City and Liverpool that have kicked past everybody else.
Totally.
But beyond that, Chelsea, Arsenal, Manchester United, the clubs that you normally expect to be there, are not necessarily locks there anymore. There's definitely some openings for Leicester's and other clubs to jump in.
The Big Six has kind of opened up, and Leicester, I really think, are taking advantage of that. And that's where a lot of clubs like Palace, like West Ham, I'd imagine, are probably looking at Leicester and thinking, we'd like to be there.
Newcastle could be if Mike Ashley or anybody invested.
I agree.
Yeah, totally.
It's an interesting picture, so I want to definitely, next time you're here, come join up with us again.
Yeah,
we want to hear more about Palace.
Might be a little while.
That's okay.
Yeah, okay,
That's okay.
2 more questions before you go.
Okay.
Yeah, cool, no problems.
Has the Eagle ever escaped Selhurst Park?
No, but I think it was. It was definitely against Brighton. One guy tried to punch the Eagle at one point. So I think it tried to escape.
Nice.
Not nice at all. Yeah, exactly. That's why Brighton suck. So yeah.
So you got goals and Eagles. Okay. Now, what do you guys really think about having cheerleaders as a part of your
Oh, boy.
I mean, and I'm asking this honestly because it's more something that's attached to American football.
Yeah. It's okay. I've met a lot of the girls. They're really
I was
nice.
gonna say.
Yeah, they're nice
You
ladies.
appreciate their wardrobe.
Yeah, well, exactly. I don't know if the clubs. I'd like to get an outfit for my wife. I don't know if the club's got one on sale.
Very nice.
If they do, then
You appreciate the haberdashery that.
yeah,
is Crystal Palace.
exactly. Yeah, excellent motifs.
I mean,
and,
because like I said,
stitching
I've
and
always
stuff.
just, it seemed to be something that was very American that was put
Yeah.
into Crystal Palace's.
Yeah, well, I think we because the guy who took Steve Parrish, he's kind of like the face
he's
of
the dude,
the board.
yeah.
He's a dude, exactly. Yeah, he's from a marketing background, so he tries to do a lot of stuff that the kind of particularly internationally sort of like made us look a bit different as a team. I think way before I heard you guys talking about the Sunderland documentary, the unfortunately timed Spurs documentary.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we did our own that I think was shown on NBC a few years back, and
I
it
missed
was
that one.
going
Okay.
through 6 months where we won nothing as well. So I don't know what it is about teams doing documentaries. But,
do one.
Exactly, yeah. But we kind of kicked off this new wave of that, I think.
City's the only one I think who's done that won in the year they did it.
Yeah.
Because even Leeds,
Yeah.
I mean, the Leeds documentary was great, but
Yeah.
man, the ending was
glorious
breaks
failure,
your
right?
heart.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean that's kind of Leeds all over a bit, though, isn't
That's
it?
true. That's true. I mean, that's another one that you talk about clubs that could be bigger than they are.
Massively.
That's one that
Way
if they
way
could
bigger
get it
club
right.
than Crystal Palace.
It could be if they could
Yeah.
get back to that point, but
Yeah,
who knows? We'll have to wait and see.
yeah,
Thanks so much.
yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah, have a good one, fellas.
Cheers.
I'll join you for the what was it in Coke that you're drinking?
Fernet and Coke.
Fernet
yeah.
and Coke. Yeah, lovely
Yeah.
stuff. All right, yeah. Thanks a lot.
Yes.
Cheers. Bye.
Excellent. All right, speaking of Fernet and Coke, I'm going to need to get one of those because it's time to get into the Copa Libertadores.
Well, I'm just grateful he was up there because I actually got a chance to eat something.
Yeah, well, it all worked out.
It all worked out. It was,
Proper planning, sir.
Look, here's the thing, and we say this all the time. If you come up here and you have a strong opinion about your favorite team over there,
Yes.
we will stick a microphone in your face. Be ready.
Yeah.
So-
It's you're fair game if you come out and hang out at the Brewhouse with us.
Yeah, and if you're a Liverpool fan, every underhanded knife cut joke will be
Yes.
issued to you. Just prepare yourself.
Yeah, no, I
accordingly.
think everybody knows that one by now.
Yeah.
They've heard the show enough from you, especially.
That's right.
They know. It's all good.
You know.
And for those of you who don't know what we do, Soccer Down Here is the show. Soccer Over There is this show. We have Soccer Down Here scarves for the Holding Midfielders Appreciation Society. You have to tell us who your favorite holding midfielder is when you purchase one for $20.
That's right.
And for those of you out there listening out in the SDH network, you can order them. Send us a message. Let us know. We can get it to you if you can't come up and see us here at the Brewhouse or any of our other locations that we're doing things at.
I am wearing mine right now, and I can tell you that it is a scarf of the highest quality.
It is soft. It is lovely. It is gray and black. It is stylish.
It is marvelous. Sir, I will tolerate no comments. This scarf is amazing, and I have listed.
It's a holding.
Oh, yeah. Who was your holding midfielder?
Who was your holding
No,
midfielder?
Pirlo was my
You went
holding
Pirlo,
midfielder.
that's
I went
right.
Pirlo. That was my guy. What do you mean? You put your hand up like Pirlo was okay.
It's
Good.
it's
Thank
hard
you.
to
You
argue with
couldn't argue,
Pirlo.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
could go Gattuso, which is kind of the other
You
side
could
of the
go.
coin.
Sometimes it may be good.
Sometimes it may be Istanbul.
I'm not going to start cursing in Greek.
No.
I thought about it, but I'm not going to do it. All I'm going to say is if you need a laugh one day, go watch Gennaro Gattuso press conferences from his time in Greece. Amazing
And then
stuff.
the dance mixes that have come from music
The
videos.
dance mix is unbelievable, and the video is definitely unbelievable. But just the press conference where he is simultaneously cursing in English, Italian, and Greek. It's unbelievable. And that's why he needs to manage in the United States. And I'm still hoping that he goes to Miami.
We're having folks who are chiming in on the Twitters.
Okay.
Let's go.
Let's get the Twitters before we
do you
get
want,
to
or do you want
the
the
Libertadores.
developing story first?
Let's go developing story first.
Austin David, the MLS Disciplinary Committee has suspended Nani for the first 2 games of the 2020 season. According to the release, it was due to, quote, aggressive behavior toward a match official.
vaguely remember that in the final match of the season.
46th minute against Chicago
I mean,
Fire.
it was Orlando and Chicago. Nobody cared because both teams were out of it, and it's Orlando and Chicago.
True.
But, yeah, Nani, not good. Not good.
And let's see, what else did we have here? We've had the discussion, questions we're asking about possibly Zidane to Miami.
I think that one's faded. I think Miami, the conversations were Gattuso at one point. They've been Solari a fair bit. Haven't really heard anyone else specifically lately.
No.
But they got to hire somebody really soon.
Yeah.
I was under the impression that it was the last time I saw the report was last week. So this week, allegedly, a manager should be named.
It's got to be quick because, I mean, a month you're doing the expansion draft.
It has to be.
You got to start prepping for the January window. You've got to start building your squad out.
And realistically, if you have a strong enough candidate, Paul McDonough's probably reaching out to that person saying, "Hey, look, here are some profiles of players that may be available. Who do you want?" Even before your name, because I'm sure they're in the process of
very true
doing some sort of dramatic. The manager standing on a skyscraper in Miami with the sunset and flamingos flying by him or herons or whatever they're going to have. So I'm sure there's some kind of grand entrance they're planning, and he just hasn't been named yet.
We'll see. I'm intrigued to see what happens in Miami. Tomorrow in the Copa Libertadores, because we're in the semifinal round, Flamengo hosts Gremio. That was a fun match in the first leg. Flamengo dominated, just absolutely dominated the match. Gremio got a goal late. It's level 1-1. Flamengo is the, I think, clear and obvious favorite here in the match tomorrow. They're going to face the winner of tonight, River and Boca. River is the clear and obvious favorite coming in because they have a 2-goal lead, and they've had success in avoiding defeats at La Bombonera.
I have Halloween candy purveyors for tonight's game only, not to advance whenever you want that information.
I'm curious to see because I have not seen Boca's lineup yet, and I'm waiting to see it. There have been rumors all week because of the situation you're in. Do we have a Boca lineup? Is it official?
I will look.
I'm not saying no lineups yet.
We're going to get Howard Hamilton from Soccer Metrics up here in just a second. Alfaro, their manager, has been talking about a 3-4-3. And what's that? 4-4-2. He's typically played a 4-4-2. I know there was some talk out of the tabloids in Argentina about going 3-4-3. He's not a manager who likes to open it up. This is a guy who has generally been at smaller clubs. When he gets into these kind of games, it's generally been coming from a smaller club mentality. You got to defend. You got to keep it tight. Well, the Superliga match, it was scoreless at River. The first leg of this, you lost 2-0, and you got run off the park.
Yep.
So you have to open it up. You don't have a choice now. And against a team like River that is so good on the counter, how open do you get to start?
I think from my time in watching provincial teams in Italy try to do this, the managers will naturally go defensive, but I feel that as much as you want to open it up, I'm going to go counter probably to all logic and reason and say you have to keep things defensive to start with, survive the initial wave, and then as the game progresses and you get more comfortable, then open it up. But that's my take on it.
Gallardo already announced that it was the same lineup from the first leg. He had no problem coming out and saying, this is what we're going to do. It worked before, so bring it. Yeah, same lineup from the first leg. We're getting reports. Flor Fernandez, who is just one of the journalists down in South America of about 5 million, has Tevez in a starting lineup from Boca. And that was something that a lot of people were thinking was going to happen here because you look at Boca in the league this year, they've only got 2 players with more than 1 goal. And Carlos Tevez at 75 years old is one of them.
75 years and cybernetic knees.
Tevez is, he's the idol for Boca. And when you're in this situation, it gets beyond tactics. It gets beyond common sense. you got to hope for a turn back the clock day out of Carlos Tevez.
Well, here's the thing: is that in Atlanta we have this with Joseph Martinez. When Milan was in its prime, it had it with Gattuso. You need that guy with a knife between his teeth who's ready to go.
Yeah,
and that's going to be Tevez. And the fact that he did not start in the River leg absolutely blew my mind.
That was a shock. I didn't expect that.
Because look, and yeah, it is a shock, but at the same time, it's smart that they're going to go ahead and reverse that mistake because you made it, you're committed, the result is done at this point. You trot him out there and you send him out.
I'm shocked he didn't start the first leg, and now you have to turn to him because best hope for Boca tonight is an early goal. An early goal to make this thing crazy. The thing about River, though, is this is a River side who, one, they're the defending champs. They have the longest streak in road matches without a loss in the tournament. It's in history of the tournament. They've got that going right now. 12 straight, they haven't lost on the road, going back to the last campaign in 2018.
And who's the road team in this game?
It's Boca. Man, Boca... Here's the one thing that Boca can put their hat on because their league form hasn't been great. They haven't been scoring goals. You've got to score at least 2 to take this to penalties.
Yep.
There's no extra time, first off. It goes straight to penalties if it's level. Keep that in mind. But you've got to get 2 to take it there, and you can't give up anything. You give up something, you got to get 4. In the last 7 games in all competitions... in the last 7 of the 10 in the Libertadores at home, at La Bombonera, Boca got a score line that would at least get them the penalties. So in the Libertadores, they have scored goals. They have had success. It's got to be one of those special nights. You talk about it in Europe, the Special Champions League night. That's what Boca has to evoke here tonight.
They're going to need the Bombonera at maximum volume. And you're going to get it with that fan base. So that's not a variable. But what I am concerned about is the manager getting too hands-on. You see this from some of the provincial guys. They get too hands-on. They get too tight. They just don't call it for a more defensive posture, but at the same time, they start meddling, right? Like, oh, wait,
you're overthinking the whole process.
Oh, yeah. I saw a cloud that reminded me that I should start this guy instead of this guy. The most random things. I went to a fortune teller, and the chicken bones told me that I need to bench the star player. Who knows? But these guys, they pull out the most random things to alter a lineup that sends everything haywire. Now, I do agree that Boca has to score first. Boca must score first.
If they give up a goal, then they got to get 4. I don't think they have 4 in them.
No, they don't.
I don't see 4 goals out of Boca tonight.
No, they don't. And that's why I think Boca must score first, and they can't just shut it down when they score. Right? That's obviously because of the score line, but there's some managers who, for whatever reason, say, okay, we got our goal, we're going to bunker, counter. Oh, wait, hold up. What do you mean they scored? Then your entire game plan's gone to pot. So they must score, and they must keep shape. They must keep the tactical game plan in check. And I don't think they they advance. I think they get a draw tonight. I'm willing to start talking candy. Some fine Snickers candy.
All right.
On this, right?
Let's get into this. So you need to be clear on the result tonight.
This is tonight's result only.
For tonight's result only. Cool.
Yeah. All right.
What are the candy purveyors saying?
Boca minus 155
to win tonight.
Plus 130 for River Plate to win tonight.
Okay. What's the draw?
Not on the board.
Okay.
Take the draw.
If you can find it, take the draw.
Money line for Boca plus 130. Money line for River Plate plus 215. The money line for the draw is plus 210.
Okay.
And so the over-under from Bovada, over-under of 2, is only minus 120.
There's really nothing that jumps out at me that I want to throw any candy corn at.
No. This would be like the 9-year-old nondescript taffy that's in like the orange or the beige or the black wrapping paper that tastes.
There's nothing that jumps out of me at that.
No.
I'm just going to add my little bit to this. I watched the game last year, and River kind of got embarrassed by the Boca. Got embarrassed by the end of it, and I do think Boca is going to come out all guns blazing, and I think as long as they can keep it within touching distance last 20 minutes, we might be in for one of the better games we've seen all of this calendar year.
I'm hoping.
Yep.
I hope it's not a River goal early and then it's just, I mean, that could get dramatic in terms of things getting out of hand with physicality and cheap shots and all that.
The frustration could be a part of this game that we have not expected.
Yeah.
Or kind of you just have it in the back of your mind that you hope that it does not become the front and center. But I do think Boca Juniors, if they do get that early goal and can just stay within two goals for the rest of the game, even if they concede, I think they can pull off something that I think Carlos Tevez at home will have a lot to say, especially after the criticism he received.
It could be his last big game.
Is it confirmed that Tevez is starting?
I have not seen a confirmation on Boca's lineup yet. I think it's reported, but has it been absolutely confirmed, Howard?
I think he's going to call his own number here. He's definitely starting.
Yeah, there we go. There you go. Yeah, get Howard on a mic.
Our man has a Stanford jacket, so I'm taking anything he says with 6 pounds of gold.
Howard knows more about the Argentine Superliga than all of us.
All my sources in Argentina are saying that Tevez will start. That's what I've been reading this morning. I was checking the news feeds from there, and I think that's going to happen. I don't think that Alfaro has much of a choice because I don't really know where, except for Avila, I don't really know where the goals are going to score for, or going to come from. Avila has, I believe, 2 goals in Libertadores, and with Benedetto not being there, with Benedetto being gone, Tevez is really what you have left.
Yep.
And I actually disagree with you. Sorry about.
We all disagree with Nick on a regular occurrence. It's all good.
I actually think that Alfaro is probably the second best coach in Argentina right now. I think he's a type of coach who I think can scale.
Okay, and that was the question I was going to ask you. Yes.
I like some of the lineups that he puts out. I like the way that he approaches the match. I just think that he's coming up against the best manager in Argentina, Gallardo. So, and I think it's going to be really interesting to see what happens tonight and possibly the final. But I think that you might be able to make a case that this could be the best River team in more than 20 years.
If they go back-to-back in the Libertadores, I mean, I'm not up on my Libertadores history. Like, that doesn't happen very often, right? Has it happened?
Boca did it.
Boca
did it early part of the 2000s.
Has River ever done it?
River have not done it.
Because that's something that, if you understand this rivalry a little bit, the comparisons between the two are constant. If Boca did something that River didn't, Boca fans will constantly talk about it. Right. And this is an opportunity for River to do something they haven't done that Boca's done.
Right, but River also did the one thing that Boca will never be able to do, which is win a final of the Libertadores over 2 legs.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think that has really played. I think that has really played on the minds of Boca. We'll see. But I think that might have something to do with it as well.
So, Daniel Arrucci, who's a reporter on radio in Argentina, translated, he said that today he thinks Boca is Tevez's team because of the emotion, because of what he brings to it. And he's with you on Alfaro. He said the first goal in the first leg changed everything. He thought the game plan going in was good. It was the right way to go. It didn't go the way that Alfaro thought because of that first goal. and it was a VAR situation. I think it was ultimately the right call. Tricky one, but I think it was correct. But it shows the value of those early goals. If Boca gets the early goal tonight, game could turn on its head.
It could, but I also think that if River gets a goal, the tie's over.
It's done, right.
And I think River has a much better midfield. They have a better defense. I think they have the best defense in the tournament. Yep. And I think I have a lot more faith in a player like Prato than I do like even Avila or Tevez. I think Prato is a player who really comes up big in big matches. And I'm just really concerned about Boca's back line, particularly the left. They conceded their second goal in Libertadores. They were just sliced apart. And over the weekend, they're playing somewhat with reserves, but they conceded a goal to Rossi in almost the same fashion.
Right. And they lost the grip on the top of the table too. And you had to because you're playing reserves in that match because you're looking ahead. Yeah, they're still in. No, yeah, don't get me wrong. Like, they're still in that, but it's gotten a little crazy at the top of the table in Argentina now with 7 teams within 3 points of the top.
Did you read my table?
It's a lot of pressure, a lot of extra pressure, I think, on tonight. We do have a lineup from Boca. Show that to Howard just make sure it's what was expected. I think it is. I don't think there's anything different. Andrada in goal, Buffarini, Lopez, Izquierdos,
right.
Mas. That's your back line. It is a 4-4-2. Salvio, Marcone, Almendra comes into the lineup. McAllister, and then up top it's Tevez and Avila.
That's what I saw this morning.
So it's the 4-4-2.
Sources, son. Sources.
Yeah, there we go. The one change there's a couple changes from the first leg, but the Tevez one's not a shock. Almendra comes in because of the red card late. That was expected. Fill us in a little bit, Howard, on who to look for outside of Tevez. I know a lot of people listening, if they're not following Boca closely, Tevez is a name that jumps out. Who else should you be looking at in this Boca team to turn this tie around?
I think to keep them in the tie, I would really focus on Boca's left back. If River's able to I think River will make a run at Buffarini, but if they're able to get behind Boca on the left with success, it could be a very long evening for them.
And that's go ahead.
I would also look at the performance at Alexis McAllister because
I like McAllister a lot.
I like McAllister a lot too. I think he's a top 10 midfielder in Argentina. And I can see why Toronto FC were really interested in him once upon a time.
Yep.
But he didn't have a good weekend against. He played in the match against Racing over the weekend. He didn't play very well. So I'm really interested in seeing how he performs tonight. I think those are the two primary. Those are two primary areas where I look at if I were Boca.
Fill us in a little bit on Wanchope Avila, Tevez's partner up top, a player that has been looked at a lot for Boca coming into the season, but the goals haven't really been coming on a regular basis.
I think he's a great player. I think he performed really well last season in the Libertadores. Again, as you've been saying, I don't think he has performed. I don't think he's performed very well so far. But Boca's defense has been good enough to carry them through this stage of Superliga. I don't know if that will last too much longer.
And that's where this gets tricky because you're taking a team that has been strong defensively and controlled things in league play and in Libertadores play, and now they have to get out of their comfort zone a little bit. They have to open up more. And it's one thing to just open up against any team and try to find that comfort level. You're opening up against a River team that can just kill you on the counter. How does Boca balance that?
I think Boca could balance it by. I don't think you can afford to sit deep against.
I
this
agree.
Team. I really, in the situation they're in, they really have to take the initiative, but I believe they have to take care of the ball. Against this midfield that River has, I think Boca really need to take care of the ball if they're going to have a chance. To get something out of this match to get back into the tie. If they're really struggling to maintain possession, if Alexis McAllister is struggling, if Almendra is struggling, I think they're going to have really serious problems unless they choose to rely on set pieces. But River has been really strong defending against set pieces in Libertadores. I think they've only conceded one set piece goal over the competition. I want to be optimistic for Boca fans. I think it's going to be difficult. We'll see what happens. But I think it's going to, even though they're playing at home, I think it's going to be very difficult for them to get into the tie.
Yeah, you gotta grab control early in this situation because it's not even just the 2-goal lead. River in a position to where they can sit. They can be a little more conservative. I don't know if that's necessarily their DNA, but they can play a little more on the counter. They get Juan Fernando Quintero back, and he's on the bench. He's come back and he's played some matches for River in the lead up to this. He doesn't get the start, but you're talking about the ultimate luxury to be able to turn if things get a little south, and you only need 1 goal. Even if you concede first, you get 1, you have completely regained control. And to have a player like Quintero to turn to, I mean, you're talking about one of the great playmakers of South America who is now a luxury to you. That's where River Plate is at the moment.
Yeah, and that's great that you have the luxury on there. For me, the relationship between Palacios and Borre is going to be, in my opinion, how River gets out of this game. When we talk about that left side of Boca's back line, you're going to need to cut them early, and you're going to need to be able to control the ball in front of them and spread them out. Force them to make bad decisions. Who's going to go take who? Where am I going to? Who's going to push up? If you get that back line out of sorts, this game's going to be over with very quickly for Boca. So, to your point, that's why, and I should have never handed him the mic because he immediately said I was wrong.
That was the best moment ever.
But he has a Stanford jacket, and he has more metrics than I even know what to do with, so I'm going to take his word on it. But that's why I think they will have, whether it's the right decision or the wrong decision, that's why I think they're going to play a little tight to start off with, because they're going to have to find their way in this game because they're down. I think you're going to have a couple of players who may want to freelance and think they can take this game over, and that's going to allow players like Palacios and Borre to find those gaps to put them to really shut this match down.
Nacho Fernandez as well. I think Nacho Fernandez was fantastic during the first leg, scored the second goal.
Right.
And it's good. I think he's going to be hard to handle as well. I know that Borre is up front, Prato, I imagine as well. But their midfielders can score goals, and not necessarily from outside the area.
Gallardo is such a good manager. Is this maybe the swan song in some ways at River for him? Because how much else is there for him to do there? Now, I mean, you're talking about a club legend, sure, but does he start to get antsy about wanting to follow up on something that Pep Guardiola said recently, that Gallardo is one of the best managers in the world? and he's not talked about enough because he's not in Europe. But does that maybe prod him to make that jump to Europe in the next year?
I believe there is one thing left for Gallardo to do, and that's win the league.
And that's a good point, because that's what gets so complicated if you don't follow the Argentine league and the Argentine scene on a regular basis. River would be playing the role of Liverpool in this scenario. They've won the Libertadores. They've done really well in international competition. Boca has won the league, and they've controlled the league. This is a year, we talked about how it's tightened now. Like it's a short season. It's 23 games. It could go a lot of different directions on the league side, but he could still get that double in the Libertadores back-to-back years. If he wins the league and Libertadores this year, he's got to be gone, right?
I think it would have to be.
He's got to take
I think
a
it would
big
have
jump.
to be.
I think it's really up to him.
Yeah, I think he can write his own ticket. I think he's going to have a lot of options. That Pep Guardiola endorsement helps you a little bit, huh? That's a nice one to have in the back.
It does, but where would he go? When I was driving over here, there were rumors about what would happen if Valverde left Barcelona. There were rumors about other places. He played in France. He starred for Nantes when he was there.
France seems like a spot that you could see. How big of a club would go in for Marcelo Gallardo? And that would be the question. Because he wasn't a huge name in his playing career in Europe, so he doesn't have that track record. As a manager, he's done unbelievably well at River. Some European clubs are going to be like, whatever, like they get with some players. Who goes in for him?
He was player of the year in France in 2000.
Yeah, but that's not. It's
okay. It's
France,
but they won the league with him.
It's true. In France, I think he's got a different ticket. Spain, for example.
Don't be shocked.
Where could he go in Spain?
No. Let's say France, because if PSG falters again in Champions League,
that's
and there's
an
the
ideal
opening,
spot.
They need someone who has big tournament experience, and who out there in the world who is available outside of Jose Mourinho has big tournament experience in the hardest situations on earth.
If he could get into that situation,
I think, and keep in mind, Leonardo is running PSG now, so it's somebody with South American roots who would not be afraid.
Good point.
To go and tap someone who understands the intricacies of Copa Libertadores and the weight that tournament carries, and say, hey, yes, PSG faithful, this is not a guy who you may have thought we would go get, but trust us, this is the guy who can get this locker room in order and make this team competitive in a tournament situation.
So I don't have anything to add to that.
Gallardo to PSG. I mean, I think that's the biggest spot he could get to, because I don't think there's a bigger club outside of France that would go grab him. Is that fair enough?
No, I think it is. It is the largest landing spot. Is it the most likely? Maybe not, but is it a spot where you could see him go immediately, especially with that Pep Guardiola endorsement? That's going to mean something. I mean, if we look at Spain, where's he going to go in Spain? Athletic is not. I don't think they're getting rid of Simeone anytime soon.
Simeone would be crazy to leave Atleti.
Right. I mean, we could talk about Real Madrid, but I think they're going to want a name, like a Euro name.
I think they have to go bigger name.
Barcelona, I think they're going to try to go back to their roots.
Yeah, he's outside of the system, so
somebody either Dutch or somebody who came up through Barcelona itself. So what do you? I mean, where are you going?
Both. Or both.
Yeah,
or both.
Yeah, and there's a lot of that. It's interesting. I mean, there's still work to do, and Howard's right. When you look at Argentina, the league title has a huge amount of cachet, even with the Libertadores crowns. It is a little bit of a job incomplete without a league title. And you're at this point of Libertadores, you get through tonight, you've got one more match. You don't have two legs. So you've got one more match, and then you can focus everything on the league, and you're right there. You've balanced it just right at this point to be where you're at in Libertadores, but still be within a puncher's chance of winning the league. if he gets both, I think he's got to go at that point. But if he doesn't get the league, that could keep him.
I'm not real. It's really up in the air, I think.
It's interesting.
I think that he will stay, particularly if he views it as a job incomplete. Considering where River was at the beginning of this decade, in crisis, civil war, relegated to now, with a possibility of winning a third Libertadores in this decade. Two of them, at least two of them through Gallardo. I think he can do whatever he wants at River. He can stay as long as he wants.
I'll agree with that. Yeah.
Does he want to? I think he's been associated with the club for at least 25, 30 years. Mm-hmm. Again, I think he can do whatever he wants. I don't know if he's really thought that far in advance about what he's going to do next.
Yeah, he hasn't been one who I think has been super vocal about it. I think there was an interview recently where he talked about at some point he'd like to manage Argentina. He'd like to manage the national team, which is, that's kind of obvious, I think, at some point. But he's got a lot to do at the club level. It feels like there's just a lot left for him, and it's going to take a move to get that next level. Not in Argentina. I think he's always going to be beloved and respected, and we've seen it so many times where guys leave, and if he ever needs to come back to River, he'd always have an open door. But to get to that next level of the elite, I think it's going to have to mean a trip to Europe. Sadly, but I think this is where it's at.
Yeah, possibly. There are those Argentine coaches that have been successful in Europe.
Yeah.
And there are those who were really successful in Argentina but didn't do well in Europe. Carlos Bianchi didn't do well in Europe.
True. Very true.
You could say it for some other coaches who went over there as well. So I think Europe is a really important place to, I guess, obviously raise your cachet in world football.
Yeah.
I don't know that it matters quite as much to a number of South American managers as you might think.
That's what's so interesting as I learn more and dig deeper into the South American game is, I think generally, and maybe it's just because being here in the U.S., we're getting more English language commentary, obviously of Europe and obviously of England, but everywhere else as well. And there's just no English language commentary when it comes to the South American game, or very little. Tonight we will have it on BN. Libertadores has had it. Sudamericana's had it. But leagues, you don't have it. So there's a little bit of a bias that you have to go there to prove yourself. And as Howard says, there's a lot of managers who, not because of quality, but because of it's a different mentality, it's a different type of player, you're dealing with different challenges. It doesn't measure the quality of the manager. I think for players, maybe it does to a degree, but for the manager, not necessarily.
Yeah, I think, Tim Vickery made a really great point about this when he was talking about Luis Felipe Scolari, that there's a difference between the approach that South American managers take and the approach that European managers take. And I think we've kind of seen it here with Atlanta United, that stereotypical South American manager is more of a father figure type, especially in Brazil, but in a number of other places. Scolari was very much a father figure for the clubs that he managed in Brazil with the national team. European coaches tend to be all business.
Stand by right there. Here we go.
Excuse me.
So I'm looking at some tips for our candy purveyors, and one of the sources out there that gives you some tips. I'm not necessarily against it. It says bet on a red card for Boca. I think that's a fair choice here. Bet on a penalty awarded.
I'm not going to take the red card for Boca. I'm not.
You're
taking
not
that
going to
one.
go there.
No,
okay.
not in Bombonera in this game. I'm not taking red for Boca. On River, sure. But for Boca, no.
Yeah, Boca desperate.
Who's the referee?
There you go.
Oh, I read somewhere who the referee was, and I don't remember. I don't remember their profile here, but man, you talk about a tough gig tonight. And remember, VAR is a factor in Copa Libertadores.
You're going to be the center ref to call a red on the home team in that place. Oh no. No.
Sakib's running to the purveyors about a Carlos Tevez hat trick. If Tevez scores a hat trick and Boca goes through, the statue will be up tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
Outside of La Bombonera.
Yeah, no doubt.
Like absolutely, it will be there in the morning.
Absolutely. But no, when you're reading the props, I'm like, yeah, I could agree with that one, but no red card on the home side. No.
Ooh.
No. You want to get out of that building alive, you're going to keep that red in your pocket.
Yeah, the referee is Wilton Sampaio. He's a Brazilian referee.
Okay.
And they had a Brazilian referee for the first leg.
Right.
Which makes sense because you're not going to have an Uruguayan, you're not going to have a Paraguayan referee. There are some very good ones, but I think in a match like this, I think CONMEBOL would feel comfortable having a Brazilian referee. And I think there was an Argentine referee for the previous leg. I think Nestor Pitana, who refereed the World Cup final, was the referee for the first leg in Brazil.
All right, let's get to some predictions here. What we all think in the round table, how this is going to go. Nick's chomping at the bit.
Well, I'm just trying to make sure the microphone doesn't go that way first because we know what that score line's going to be.
Yeah.
So we're going this way.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm going to say 1-1.
1-1.
I'm going to say 1-1, and obviously with that score line, River advances.
Who scores first?
I will say that Boca scores first, and that the dagger will come very late.
All right, Howard, what do you think?
I also think it'll end 1-1.
1-1. Boca first, or River gets it first, and Boca throws everything trying to get 4 goals?
I go back and forth on that.
Okay.
John,
what do you
I
thinking?
go back. I'm undecided on that.
1-1? Okay.
You know what he's going to say.
He's got to say it, though, for posterity.
Actually, I was going to go with 1-1.
All right, so everybody thinks 1-1.
Yeah, I was going to go 1-1, but River
here.
goes first to turn it crazy.
See, I don't think that turns it crazy. I don't know.
If River scores first, it kind of ends it.
Yeah, I think
it's just going to be desperate.
If River scores first, then I'm taking the Boca red card.
Yeah.
Because then I think it's just we're going to start kicking people.
3-0, Tevez hat trick in regulation.
3-0?
Tevez
hat trick. Okay. Okay. I'm going to go 2-2, and I'm going to go with Boca getting the first 2 goals, and then River catching them as they go for a third, and then putting it away. 2-2, River goes through. Absolute, complete chaos.
True Thunderdome. You're going Thunderdome.
I'm going complete Thunderdome. Tevez gets the first one.
All right. Okay. But what I want is I want a fun game to watch. And you're going to get the atmosphere. The atmosphere will be there. That's
Fun can go a lot of different ways tonight.
Well, what I'm talking about is I want Euro snobs to tune in and realize that those boys in Argentina can put on a fun spectacle. If you would just take off your Premier League colored glasses for 5 minutes and understand that there is soccer at a high level taking place down in Argentina. Gustavo, what's up, man? How you doing?
The passion is a whole different thing here.
It is.
Libertadores says nothing to prove to anybody.
Oh, yeah. Okay. You wanna expand on that?
Yeah.
No, go for it. It's all good. It's all good.
Go for it, man. There's no one else listening except us.
It was created around the same time as the European Cup.
Mm-hmm.
You've had some epic teams in the competition. You have had, yes, Argentina, Brazil, Uruguay have dominated competition, but you've also had a lot of really great moments from some of the other countries as well. You've seen some really great talents, and this is the tournament that any South American player, I don't care who he is, wants to win. Even more, not more. I would say just as much as the Champions League. I think Neymar has said that he's won the Champions League, but he values the Libertadores just as much as the Champions League title that he won. And when the Intercontinental Cup was in existence, it was an awesome competition. Up until around 2000, 2003, there were some fantastic matches.
And those were one-offs. They do it in Japan typically.
Right,
There's a one-off
one-
between the Libertadores and Champions League winner.
Right, those are one-offs, but
amazing.
Those were matches that South Americans wanted to win.
Yeah.
I have really great memories of Vélez winning in '94 against one of the great Milan teams.
Yamil Assad's dad had a big hand in that one.
Oh, God.
That was Berlusconi called him I think a third division team.
That sounds like something that Silvio would say. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. The 2000 final, the 2000 Copa Intercontinental, which was one of the best matches I'd ever seen.
Which one was that?
Boca versus Real Madrid.
Oh, yeah. That was where Boca came out and just blew the doors off.
Yeah, Palermo scores twice in the first 10 minutes.
Oof.
I grew up, I grew up like being more exposed to South American football. But the Copa Libertadores, I don't think the Copa Libertadores has anything to prove to anyone about how great it is, about what a fantastic competition it is. It's, I think some of the things outside of the football get a little bit out of control. That's happened with the European Cups as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I just think that it's a great competition, and I would love more people to check it out. But I don't think it has anything to prove to anybody.
No, I agree with that.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing, is that I don't think it has to prove anything to anyone, but I do wish more people would tune in. Because if you're looking for high quality, there are people who say, I'll never buy MLS, single entity, blah, 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 no pro rel. Okay, great. If that's your thing and that's the hill you want to die on, fantastic. Just know that in the same time slot, there are options for you. There's fantastic soccer being played down there. Just check it out. Don't sit there and wear your Prim jersey and scream Prim, 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 and there's nothing good over here when there's actually fantastic options for you. Just go and get Fanatis.
And there are people who listen to the show who went out and got a Fanati subscription to watch tonight, which is very cool. That's hopefully what we try to get across doing soccer over there, where we get a chance to rant about Milan, rant about England, talk about all the different issues around the world in it, but also shine a light on something like the Copa Libertadores that, look, I mean, I know a little bit about it. I know a little bit about a little bit, but it's grabbed my attention because it feels different. And the thing, yes, the SEC, it just means more, right? It's kind of how this feels.
That's exactly what it is. It does mean more.
Yeah, it does. I've found myself in the last 6 months watching more of the Argentine League than anything else outside of MLS. Because when you get, and for me, yes, the language barrier is part of it, but when you get past that and you get into the rivalries, the histories, all the storylines, and there's so many storylines, when you get into all of that, it's fascinating. And you get every bit of weird craziness, like hipster stuff with like little teams popping up and competing for titles. Vamos Defensa. You get that, you get River, you get Boca, you get the Grandes, and you get these just gigantic spectacles. It's fascinating, and to be able to now watch it on a regular basis, which I'd never had before, and that's part of the thing, is Fanatis being able to watch Defensa as much as possible. I try to watch Defensa, and then Friday night had both of the games on with Boca and River to see what they did in those games, because how complicated it was for them. There's so many storylines. If you can take yourself, if you've grown up as a Liverpool fan, if you've grown up as a fan of the Premier League, if you've grown up as a Serie A fan, if you've grown up as an MLS fan, if you can take yourself out of that comfort zone a little bit and look at what the world can bring to you in this game, pick wherever you want to start and just jump into it. And don't be limited by what's comfortable or what you grew up with. Like, look at these different fascinating leagues all over the world.
And it's a fresh start for you. You know,
Yeah.
you may have grown up a Liverpool fan.
You can pick Defensa y Justicia.
And that's the thing is I literally went down the chart and I said, I don't know who the hell names their team Defensa y Justicia, but I'm on board for that. Only later on did I find out that they were like they were this tiny team, with a bunch of loanees, and I'm like, Who's Kurt Cobain on the sideline? They're like, that's
yes.
Sebastian Becachese. I'm like,
Shaggy.
That's my guy right there.
Shaggy and Kurt Cobain.
Gustavo's Independiente came and snagged him away.
It's the life of Defensa.
They stole our wonderful, magnificent maned Sebastian Becachese out. He's like a walking Head and Shoulders ad. His hair was magnificent.
He does have wonderful hair. It's true.
Wonderful hair.
Unfortunately, there's a really good possibility that he may come back.
Oh, yeah?
Independiente is not doing very well.
It's a big jump.
Return him to us, and the curse shall be lifted. I'm glad to see that.
Defense is not doing very well either.
Nah, well, they have like over half of their rosters on loan on a regular basis. So
look, I'm not going to, because people may have concerns, but chickens may not have played a role in Independiente's fortune. So, we do what we can. Return him to us, and all will be lifted. All will be well.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. The really interesting club in Argentina at the moment, aside from Argentinos Juniors, is Arsenal. Because when Arsenal got relegated, but the story, I don't know if you all know the story of Arsenal, is it's Julio Grondona's team, who was Don Julio, the head of AFA for decades. That was the team that he and his family started, I believe, in the 40s or 50s.
Right.
They were promoted from an amateur team all the way up to the first division, I think around 2002. And then, they won, I guess the equivalent of Copa Sudamericana a couple years after that. And then they won the league, I believe, in 2012. So put aside the fact that it's a Granada team, it's an example of a team formed from nothing that starts at the very bottom of the football pyramid, gets promoted all the way to the top, and becomes champions of the country. So, which is really great if you put aside the fact that it was owned by the Grondona family. So when Grondona dies, a lot of resources, money that probably would have gone Arsenal's way dries up, and they get relegated a couple of years later. And I thought when they got relegated that they would start their slide down the pyramid all the way down to Primera C, Primera D, and they came back the following year. There we go. And I haven't checked I should check my own table, but they're in the top 5 right now. I think they have a point to prove.
Yeah,
that
they're within that 3-point gap where there's
Right.
7 teams. They're in that.
Right. So I think they're a fascinating team. They're also right between. They're located right between Racing and Independiente, which is why they have the colors that they do. But I just think it's a really interesting team because I think they're playing with a chip on their shoulder, as if to say to the rest of the establishment, you thought that we were going to go when Don Julio left. No, here we are.
And those are the storylines that make certain leagues tick, right? There's certain leagues that they just have these stories that are hidden away. And if you take the time and learn about them, it just makes it that much more fascinating. Off the field entirely, right? The fact that you have a team that literally came from nothing, and here they are. And I mean, like Jason said, they're not far out from being on the top end of the league. So
they're in the mix. I mean, the Argentine League is maybe one of the most open leagues in the world in terms of new champions popping up every season. It feels like there's always somebody new who jumps up.
It's open this year.
Well, I mean, how many different champions have you had there? I think they were one of the major leagues that had the most different recent champions. Some of it's been down to format and some of the different things they've done with it, which gets a little weird. But
well, I'm trying to work backwards here. Let's see. Racing last year, you had Boca 2 years in a row. Before it, you had Lanús, who won a title, who won their first title, I believe, 10 years before that.
Yep.
Then you had San Lorenzo, right after Bergoglio became Pope. So that was kind of funny.
Yeah. Newell's was in the last 10 years.
Yeah, Newell's. Yeah, Newell's within the last 10 years. When a couple years after River came back, they won the title.
Right.
Vélez, Argentinos in 2010. And that was their first title in 25 years. Estudiantes was that 08, 09.
Yeah.
And they won in 06 in the tiebreaker against Boca. I'm sorry to throw more of a blank, but you've had.
But the opportunity's there, though. The opportunity's there.
Some of it's been down to short seasons, which, I mean, now it's not exactly a short season. It's longer, but it's 23 weeks.
Well, you have 47 tournaments that you have to contend
and you have the
with
Copa
as well.
Argentina, then you have the Copa de la Superliga. It gets a little weird.
Yeah. I think the larger tournaments actually give the smaller teams more of an opportunity to put together a project and contend for a title. When the shorter tournaments were sold to the clubs, Fernandez said this would give more teams an opportunity to win the title. And when that was, I think after it was instituted in 1990, that never really happened. Really I guess if you could call it a small, I think Lanús fans would probably get offended, but Lanús won the short tournaments in the mid 2000s. Obviously, Arsenal did as well. Argentinos did, but I also think that mirrored the decline of Boca and River, or Boca or River, which gave one of the smaller teams an opening that could build a project.
Highly recommended for whoever's listening, wherever your background is, to get out of your comfort zone in the world of soccer and check out different leagues, different competitions, broaden your soccer horizons a little bit. It's definitely worth the trouble, worth the time you put in to pick where you want to go and how you want to do it. But I know it's paid off for me. I've really enjoyed Fanati specifically and watching a lot of the different competitions there. It just gives you, I think, a more well-rounded look at the game. And when you get players for me, like specifically when players from Argentina come to MLS, I feel like I get them a little bit more. I get the mentality. I know kind of who the players are coming in, where they're from, what that means. et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But tonight, it's all about Libertadores. 8:30 kickoff. It's on BN Sports, both in English and Spanish. You can get that on Fanatis, on Fubo TV, whatever, your cable system if you have that. Whatever you need to get in front of a TV for this, do it. If you're listening to us and you're not here at the Brewhouse Cafe, you're doing it wrong, and come join us.
So wrong.
Because the Fernet y Coke is about to start flowing, and we might try to draw in some choripan or whatever else we can get back there.
And it is at a reasonable price. It is
Yes.
at a reasonable price.
If I can get a choripan and a Fernet y Coke, I am set for tonight.
You know what
That's
else
I'm
is a
talking
reasonable
about.
price, Jason?
What is a reasonable price, sir?
These wonderful Holding Midfielders Appreciation Society scarves that we have right here. For $20, you come up, you name your favorite holding midfielder, and you too can have one of these insanely comfortable scarves.
Daniele De Rossi did not make the list tonight. He is on the bench, though, for Boca.
Well, a luxury.
Yeah, a
A
little
luxury
bit.
to have.
A little bit.
I tried to model them just a second ago.
It's frightening.
Ain't it? You don't want my legs modeling these scarves.
No. All right. That's going to do it for us. We'll be back tomorrow morning with soccer down here at 9 o'clock.
Normal
getting
time.
Deep into MLS Cup playoffs. 2 matches tomorrow, 2 matches Thursday. Atlanta hosting Philadelphia Thursday night. Knockout scenario. Oy. All the stress, all the drama. We'll talk about that tomorrow morning. We'll be back here next Monday for Soccer Over There, live from the Brewhouse Cafe. Make sure you're following Brewhouse_Cafe on Twitter. Make sure you're following the Brewhouse Cafe on Instagram, on Facebook for all the latest events, all the latest specials. You would have known about the $5 Fernet y Coke.
Hello.
You would have.
And I'm going to get one right now. Nick, send us home.
Mucha euro y'all.
All the Argentine pesos, y'all.
All the Fernet, y'all.